How's it going? Corny kind of day for sure. I'm gonna have quite a few corny days here. Just have the hired worker plugging away at the cairn. So this is officially the first video on the new RTX 2070. We also have shader mod installed to get a little bit better looking game here. It's really amazing. I have all the settings set high, 200%, 400%, everything, 8x and 16x with shader. Have a pretty incredible viewing distance of all the trees and crops, and that's that's tens of thousands of trees it's trying to render. Um, so that's pretty cool. These same settings with shaders mod on my old 970, I was getting like 5 frames per second. And OBS is saying we're getting about 55, 60 right now, so not too shabby. I also have a M.2 NVMe card coming on Sunday. It's 1 terabyte, so we're gonna get a little bit of a boost there because my hard drive it's about 8 or 9 years old now, so it's time to upgrade that old girl. She's been kind of used and abused, so. Diego, I have no idea what you're saying. English. You don't speak Spanish? To get rid of the halo, like where the clip distance, all it does is extend that a bit. In order to get the halo, you have to modify the XML files to go from like 80 viewing distance to like 150 or something like that. Then it would bump it out far enough where you wouldn't get the crop halo. The one thing with this card is I'm trying to do some overclocking. Right now it's only overclocked at like 50 megahertz on the core clock, which is really nothing. And then the memory clock's overclocked at 400. The card really should be able to do, 250 on the core and 800 on the memory clock without even touching the voltage. It runs stable when you do benchmarks with those figures, but this game, Farming Simulator, it crashes when you try to load. It's like it doesn't know what to do with all that power. So I'm not real sure what the deal is there. I also upgraded to DisplayPort, some nice DisplayPort 1.0, 1.4 cables for both my monitors, so see if that helped a little bit with the image. And we also installed that weight script where it's supposed to kind of like make more realistic masses on fruits and stuff, so we'll see how that goes. 9610 on a 12 row. Yeah, we definitely could probably use a 12 row. I thought the yields were going to be a lot higher than they are, because Giants yields are usually pretty high, but these seems to be, you know, fairly okay. Not extremely exaggerated like they used to be, so. Is the GPS mod out yet? Not that I'm aware of. Um, but I haven't really been kind of, you know, tracking it down. I imagine if it was out, everyone would be posting it, so. I think it's safe to say that it's not out yet. What's going on, Jason? So, we're kind of gearing up. Here we got our spreader box with lime. We got our ripper. So these guys are ready to go. And put some lime down and start plowing this field. What we'll probably do is we'll broadcast some lime, get the ripper going. Like to do some headland passes with that ripper before we hire it out. And so we'll have this section pretty much done. We can get the ripper over in this part of the field, broadcast some lime, and then we can start on these longer. The next section is going to be some longer passes. So where's Jakey Poo? Good question. I'm not sure where he is. Probably still at work or something. Countless jokes. What do you mean? How do you get your terrain so good? I'm not really sure what you're asking there. So it'll be interesting to see if the stream quality is any better. I kind of modified my OBS. It doesn't look like we're dropping any frames. It says it's at 60 FPS with the CPU usage of 19%. So hopefully the live stream's a little bit smoother and a little bit clearer and better quality than it was before. I could maybe bump it up to 4,000 bitrate, see if that helps. The shape of the field, like maybe smoothness or something. The terrain, you can modify terrains and, you know, whatever. Yep, running shaders mod, finally can do it. When I tried installing it with the 970, and I didn't even have maximum settings. I had pretty much everything 200% except the object distance. I had to bump that to 100%. It was just too much for the card to try to render and have, you know, 30 plus frames per second. And then when you would install the shader mod, everything just died. It just killed it. I mean, we're talking 5 frames per second. So now we got everything maxed out with shaders, and we're running 56, 57 frames per second. So. Do I miss Wind Chaser? I never played it in 15. Well, yeah, I did. I built it. When did I build it? It was in 13. I started in 13 and then played it a lot in 15. But no, I don't really miss it. Wasn't a bad first map, but this is far superior. Really like how it's based on a real area. It's all satellite image. It's digital elevation map, and I don't know. It's a lot cooler of a deal, a map to play on. Turn it up to 40,000. Turn what up? Turn up. But the shader mod is really cool. I like how it kind of has the shadows around the tires and makes the dirt like a little bit darker mud. And yeah, my mistake. I didn't play it in 17. Played a lot in 15. So many years ago. So we're gonna try to open up a little headland here. But everything with this shader mod looks really nice. It's really impressive. Like Spike, shout out. Go for it. Willie getting it going. It's like the wave. It's always funny. Whatever sporting event you go to, probably hockey games it happens the most because the arenas are a little bit smaller, but you always get the waves going. I don't know how they start, but they always do. They fizzle out pretty quick. Looks like real farming. I don't know about that, but it looks pretty good. It's fun to have a decent graphics card again, which is really sad. I mean, a 970 is probably the most popular in the most sold graphics card, and the fact that it can barely run this game on high settings in 4K is kind of sad. You're selling your sister's drum set? Isn't that kind of like hers to sell? Wouldn't she get the money? Or does she not know about it? So we'll probably call it a day for there. How many mods do I have? No idea. Not enough. Never enough. Never enough good quality mods. There's a overabundance of trash mods, but not enough good ones. An 860. I went from a 460 to a 970, and that was night and day. But even in 17, the 970 was kind of struggling compared to like a 1060. And hopefully a lot of these games will be optimized for the new RTX, because a lot of features of this card aren't even being utilized. It's for DirectX 12. You know, this game is like DirectX 10 or 11 or something like that. It doesn't really utilize any of the new features of this card. So it's got a lot of room to grow here. Well, Patriotic, it sounds like quite the dilemma there in the house. So we're gonna hire this guy out, take a long pass, and then we'll come back, do some headlands down at the other end, come back, do a couple more headlands, and should be good to go. Then we can start kind of broadcasting some lime out here. Where's Mikey at? Good question. He's never around these days. The old squad. Yeah, so good to hear that the stream's a little bit better. Figured it was time to kind of invest some money into this whole YouTube thing. And I'm really curious to see how much the new M.2 NVMe storage is going to improve. It's definitely going to help the loading um, and saving and things like that, but I'm not sure if it's going to really improve the gameplay a whole lot. But I guess we shall see. So I'm going to hop in this little guy, the old R4045. We put some floaters on it. We're going to kind of broadcast some lime in this section so we can get the ripper going. Soil mod. Soil mod was really, I really enjoyed playing with soil mod. It will be great when it comes back, or at least seasons, or whatever. I don't think anyone's minding cryptocurrency anymore. I think that bubble popped. People lost their butts on that, which, good, as they should. Why would you invest in something that makes no sense? Like, there's literally no reason for cryptocurrency. It makes no sense. Yeah, Mike was our cart bitch, and he had to run the truck. He had to keep up, and then we would split the field, so we had to go all the way around. Good times. Definitely didn't make it easy on the guy. It's probably why he quit. Yeah, Jake drove the 600 off the map. Classic. So, I'm not sure if it's actually an SSD. It is a NVMe M.2 drive, which maybe it is a solid state. It's a flash-based memory now, I guess is what it's called, but it's like over 4 times as fast as the fastest SSD drives. So, I didn't know anything about it. And then I was watching a Linus Tech Tip video, and I was like, what the hell is this M.2 stuff now? Like, I haven't looked at computer components for probably 4 years, so this is like totally new technology I've never even heard of before. So I was like, this is really bizarre. And I didn't think anything of it. And then when I was installing my graphics card, I saw there was an M.2 slot. I'm like, what are the chances, because my board, it was a pretty expensive board. It's like a $300 some odd motherboard at the time when I bought it. But it has a 10 gigabit per second slot for M.2. I was like, oh, this is really interesting. So I picked up a 1 terabyte M.2 storage device. It was like $250 on sale. So that's coming this Sunday, so I can't wait to get that installed and see what all happens there. Yeah, the suspension is totally getting a workout. Flying across the field with like 20 tons of fertilizer or lime, going 27 miles over a freshly harvested field. That's John Deere for you. It can handle it. It's quality. Will, I'll do it this one time, buddy. The shout out. The Will Harrison. I don't understand the concept of a shout out. I think most people like do that super chat thing for that, but the nice thing about this spreader is we cover ground in no time. Look at that. Look at that beautiful machine. Just look at it. Just look at it. You can tell it's a spreader by the way it is. Oh, whoops. We forgot to get our combine. So we were going to hop in him and take care of some headlands down there, but whatever. We'll get him on the way back. Any tips for fixing gum recession? Visit your periodontist. I don't give free advice. My time's valuable. I have never been to a John Deere plant. Yet, I should say. We might have to go hop in our telehandler and refill this for a little bit. Excuse me. This shader mod's really cool. Just everything looks so much better with that shader mod. It's this weird shadowing thing. It's awesome. I don't like how the decals, you can't see the decals until like you're right on it. They make the clip distance of their ad strips so low, and it makes no sense because they literally, it takes nothing to render those. So we're gonna hop in our Massey Ferguson here. I hope they come out with more John Deere equipment. That would be great. I'm a big John Deere guy. I'm a fan of any American equipment they come out with. I'm not gonna complain. Whatever they come out with is totally fine with me. Or even if they came out with an AGO equipment pack, like white planters or sunflower discs, or you know, stuff like that, I'd totally like be down with that. I see they brought back the old Great Plains, that little planter. It's like, So we have that new mass mod in here, and it's definitely like noticeable on vehicle suspensions and things like that. So we're gonna hop in our grain cart. Oh, that's perfect timing. I feel like I'm on big tractor power. We have all the equipment in the field at once. They're disking and then they're pulling a planter behind the disc while the combine's still in the field harvesting. An American Horse Pack, that would be great, or like a Horse Anderson, or Kuhn Kraus. You know, anything like that would be great. So I don't know about you guys, but I'm kind of a fan of how everything looks with the shader mod. It's really impressive. Was the card worth 550 bucks or whatever I paid? I'm gonna say yeah. I wish I would have waited a little bit until 2060 came out, because I'm sure maybe the 550 would come down. But apparently, at 550, they're selling them at MSRP or like at cost. Like I don't think they're really making a whole lot of money on those cards. So once this guy gets down to the end here, yeah, I don't understand the equipment selection. They have some American equipment like Hardy. They got the Thunder Creek, you know, the Kinsey, and you know, a few other things. The Under for the C10er. Um, so it's really interesting how they have rights to equipment for brands that are American. Then they got some European, but some people are saying they only have licensing in Europe, but like yet they have a ton of American branded equipment that don't even sell in Europe. So I don't really understand what's going on. I don't think anyone knows. I don't think Giants knows. I'm really surprised that there's not a John Deere forage harvester, because forage harvesting is pretty big over in Europe, and John Deere is pretty popular. I thought for sure that would be in, but it's not. Yeah, the truck. What's interesting when you look at the vehicle inspector, it says it's a Lizard truck 2014. It's a 2014 truck. So we're cutting our corn right along the river here, Osceola Creek. We got some bushes. Can't really see a whole lot, but I guess you can see a little bit. So we'll make a couple passes for a headland here, down and back. Sexy bin system? Oh, if you think that's sexy, I mean, there's got to be sexier bin systems out there with, you know, dryers and grain legs. And this is pretty simple stuff over here. It's actually a suck-up bin system in real life. They have a dryer and then suck-up that goes to the different bins. The layout is the same. Yeah, I'm pretty sure the shaders mod is available to the public. You just have to make a duplicate version of your x64 file, and in case something happens, and then you just kind of copy the files in the C drive. So it's not like you put it in your mods folder or anything. You're actually overriding the game files themselves. But as random as the seed tender was, I'm glad they included it, because that was always something that, I mean, we always had seed tenders, but they were always scripted really weird. Um, they would, if you were to pull up to a seed trigger, it would fill. You didn't have to unload a pipe or anything like that, and so it's always been kind of weird. And now you can have multiple fill planes, which is really cool, which tried to do in 17, never really worked right. There's a lot of things we tried to do in 17 that never really worked right. But you know, I'd be pretty hesitant to call anything the biggest and the best. Um, you know, doing pretty broad blanket statements like that are usually setting yourself up to be kind of embarrassed down the road. I think manufacturers, all manufacturers do something well, otherwise they wouldn't be in business. Um, so I don't think there's one company out there that does everything the best. Everything has its issues. But I like the idea of using air and vacuums to move the material, because that's less chance of having an auger or something break your product if it's a sensitive product. Same with belts. If you can have belts, that's probably the best option there. Yeah, simple. Usually, it may not be sexy or the best thing out there, but I mean, look at cars. Usually the simple things are the ones that last the longest and have the least amount of issues. So usually keeping things simple is the way to go if you can. The thing with the 16x map is it's covering such a wide variety. It covers so much land, so much area, that if you get bored with one part of it, then you can go play somewhere else where the land is totally different, the views are totally different, scenery's totally different, roads are totally different, farm layouts totally different. So, and with the 16x map, there's a lot of driving. That's one thing I didn't like about the 4x is after so many hours of playing on it, it was like, I'm not really. I wish I had more roads to drive this truck. I wish I spent more time trucking grain, or things like that. So though 16x is a lot more work and takes many, a long time to even get remotely close to looking somewhat complete, in the end, I think it will be worth it. Hopefully. I don't think Dodge, Fiat, and Chrysler is really known for reliability. At least in the modern era. I was kind of looking at the new Ram trucks because I think they're probably the best truck out there in terms of like interior, and they got the air suspension. But there's a quality control issue and a reliability issue that definitely haunts that company to this day. I think they're trying really hard to break that, but I still wouldn't buy a Jeep Cherokee either. So yeah, hard to go wrong with a Cummins diesel, but then I'm more of a Duramax and Allison transmission kind of guy. But if someone gave me a Dodge Cummins truck, I would definitely not turn it away. That's for sure. But it's kind of interesting that they're putting diesel engines in these quarter-ton pickups like the F-150, the Nissan Titan Tundra. I think maybe Chevy has a little diesel now too, so kind of interesting. Yeah, the only issues with those older trucks is the rust. If you live up, in the Northeast or Midwest, anywhere where they put salt on the roads, your vehicle's not going to last long enough to worry about reliability issues. It's going to, make sure you trade that thing in, because the rust will take care of it before anything else does. An 86 Chevy with a Cummins. Interesting. Oh, the Colorados have 6-cylinder diesels now, or? I definitely don't think every vehicle out there needs to have a diesel in it, especially something like those mid-sized trucks. Extreme 3D, are those my joysticks? I haven't touched my joysticks, unfortunately. I was gonna really get into logging, but then kind of, I even made some logging equipment, but kind got away from that for whatever reason. The issue with the joysticks is they take so much room on my chair. Alright, so we're pretty much going to be finishing up this section of lime. And we can run and grab our ribber. I'm not sure if the 2 headland passes will be enough. I think we're going to have to do 2 more rounds. So, I'm actually really surprised that I'm playing this map this early in 19. I still can't believe it. How quickly it was to convert this map over. Usually converting maps is a pain in the ass, but it's actually, you know, pretty painless. Obviously there's issues, but for the most part, it's pretty painless. When I started making this at the end of 15, it literally took 6 months for Giants to even release script documentation to even open this map in Giants Editor. So well, ever since that titanium add-on came out with the case, there hasn't been a whole lot of new case equipment. Like there was that sugarcane harvester, and I think there was that new like Maxim tractor, but that was it since 2013. So as much as I'd like more John Deere equipment, like, and there hasn't been any New Holland equipment either. So maybe this is it for. Maybe this really is all we'll see from John Deere for a couple years. I hope not, but if history has taught us anything, that any trends, that's kind of going to be the case. I know, right? I think they got the tractors covered. Although I would like some nine series John Deere tractors. That would be kind of nice. I mean, everyone else has them. They got Challenger, they got Fendt, they got New Holland, they got Case. Big Bud. Yeah, Optum and Cotton Picker. I don't know, but for 5 years, two new pieces of equipment, this doesn't look good. If you're hoping for more Deere equipment. But I mean, I'm sure someone's going to be working on those 9RXs. Those are really good Turbo Squid models. I mean, they're probably even better than what Giants would come out with in terms of detail. They're obviously going to be more higher poly, um, but redoing the textures on that probably won't be easy, just the way it was set up. So we're gonna put some hours on the RT here, the 2100 tillage ripper. Whoop! What happened? Something crashed. Oh no!